This is the Town of Lake Mills, notice of public hearing. A notice was hereby given by the Board of the Town of Lake Mills, Wisconsin, that a public hearing will be held on the 10th day of March 2020 at the Town Hall at 1111 South Main Street, Lake Mills, Wisconsin, at 7 p.m. to consider the proposed amendment to the Plan Commission ordinance to change the monthly meeting time from 8 p.m. to be determined by the Plan Commission. The town board will consider the request at the monthly board meeting directly following the adjournment of the public hearing. A draft of the proposed ordinance can be found on the town's website under Ordinance-5-14 Plan Commission. All persons wishing to be heard are invited to be present. We will now call the public hearing to order. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this ordinance change? Is there anyone who would like to speak on the ordinance change? Is there anyone who would like to speak on the ordinance change? Hearing none, all in favor of closing the public ordinance, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. We will take up the ordinance in our regular agenda. Now I'd like to call the town board meeting of the Town of Lake Mills to order. It is March 10th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Our new meeting time gives us an extra hour of sleep, just like daylight savings time. A call to order. The notice was posted at the town hall and on the town's website. Item 2 on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve as printed.
Second the motion.
Is there any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the agenda as published, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Item 3, approval of the minutes from our February 11th meeting.
And the public hearing.
And the public hearing. Let's do the public hearing first.
I make a motion to approve the public hearing of February 11th, 2020 minutes.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the public hearing minutes from February 11th, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. The public hearing was approved. Minutes of the public hearing were approved. The town board meeting minutes for February 11th, 2020. I would motion to approve the minutes as published.
Second.
Is there any discussion? The only discussion that I have is on the application reviews for item B, the discussion and decision on a request for race day events for the Lake Mills Triathlon. Today I received an email from them. They would like to change their route and they would like to use the North End boat launch as part of the swimming course, which I think means they leave from Sandy Beach and exit at the North End. This, they say, happens between 7 and 8:30 on that Sunday morning, and I can't imagine that we will not have conflict between boaters. Plus, we also have our North End boat launch marked no swimming, no fishing.
Well, I mean, it's only a quarter-mile course. From one end to one end is 2 miles.
Yeah, that's a long ways
That's a
across.
long ways to swim. I can't see.
Yeah, I
But
I don't think that's what it is.
The event's not until June 7th. Do we want to have them come in and have a discussion?
Well, I think we have to have some discussion on this. I'm just giving you the heads up on this and bringing it up. This is the old stuff that we approved last month, and the new application is just an email today. What did I do with it? Doesn't matter. So I think we should ask them to come back in. And will you do that, Robin? Will you email them?
Yes, I can do that.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. The minutes from the February 11th meeting are approved. Just thought that was the right place to bring that up. Okay, item 4, approval of the treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion to approve March treasurer's report.
Second motion.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the March 2020 treasurer's report, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Treasurer's report is approved. Item 5, approval of general funding vouching.
I'll make a motion to approve disbursements of $134,298.44.
Second?
Any questions or suggestions?
Didn't see nothing, nope.
All in favor of approving the general fund vouching, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. The vouching is carried, and thank you, Sharon, for your help there.
Just a reminder, dog licenses are due by March 31st.
Constant contact. Item 6, the reports. A, the police report, Chief Miller.
We had 48 hours of road patrol for this last month. I handled 4 complaints, spent 3.5 hours on those complaints. A total of 18 traffic stops, 8 warnings were issued, 15 traffic citations. Spent 12.5 hours on stationary radar, issued 13 ordinance citations. Did a total of 2 residence and business checks and 18 park checks and 1 extra patrol. Also, we got notice that we did get our free AED donated to us by Aurora Medical Center. We have the 10-day meeting on April 14th, 2020 to receive it. So that will give us 2 AEDs. We got 1 in the squad now, so I'd like to put 1 in the town hall when we get the second one.
Great.
We'll have to see which one will fit better in the town hall. For that. Also, I did speak with Sergeant Walters about the boat patrol audit. Apparently they're not auditing this year. All we have to do is we sent the Coast Guard information in and the other information Robin sent in. And apparently that's what they need, which is the first time they've ever done that before. So that's where we are with that. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
All right, thank you, Matt. Item B, Joint Rock Lake Committee report. I did attend their meeting. I asked them to prioritize. They have asked us to put up these boat cleaning stations, and I have been investigating the signage for those and how that'll go. That's all I have to report. I think there is 1 vacancy coming up there, and that is Larry Clark.
Is he?
We should go through that list of
The appointments.
appointments. We'll get to that when we go through the other ones, okay? Item C, the Planning Commission report. Supervisor Hines.
The one application we had was for Lakeside Construction, a variance out on Elm Point Road, and that was approved unanimously. And then we discovered they need to come back for conditional use because of the height of the proposed building. So that'll be next month. And then we had a discussion on the town subdivision ordinance, and we suggested that we had a motion to put all the suggested changes from our town engineer into the ordinance, and then bring back a draft back to the plan commission for review. That's it.
It's turned into my job. Okay, thank you, Jim. Dave, you want to report on the Cambridge Fire Commission?
Yeah, we had a meeting
Thank you, Matt.
on February 27th on the floor plan of the proposed new fire station. And we also have a closed session meeting tomorrow night off-site. And then there's another meeting on March 16th on floor plan and changes, one on the 19th to start talking about money. And we have a meeting on April 9th for a follow-up, and then our regular commission meeting on April 15th to kind of finalize, which brings me to the next thought or point. I don't know if we want to put it on the annual meeting or the regular meeting, or if it needs to be agenda, we just talk about it on the committee reports. Hopefully, on the 15th of April, that we will have most of our ducks in a row to start to explain to everyone of the floor plan, proposed outside appeal, elevations, and dollars, and how to start to understand how we're going to generate those funds and the steps that are going to be needed. So, I don't know,
You think-
annual meeting?
You think
regular?
you're going to have some information by our annual meeting?
That is our engineer's plan,
Okay, all right.
so. I
Well,
don't
we
know.
have an extra week in April, so we can
Yep.
talk about that later too. All right, thank you. You're getting a workout.
It's gonna be a long.
You like those people, come on.
I do.
All right, item 7, a period of public comment and questions for anything that is not on the town board's agenda tonight for discussion only. Please come to the podium, tell us who you are, where you live, and we'll go from there.
Well, my name is Rob Adam. I live at N5873 Mud Lake Road. Question is to regards to, I know that there's going to be a new subdivision put in out there. Nobody said anything other than if you catch tidbits from the city. I know that side of the road is township. I happen to live right at the adjacent, my property line is the city line and township line. Nobody said anything to us. Granted, I know progress always happens, but I understand that the road's gonna be raised some bit. Quite a bit actually, from trying to follow up and whatnot, and I'm just wondering as to why nothing's been said. And approximately 2 years ago is when Mr. Unz took out the line fence, give or take, that ran east and west and washed out my driveway. So that's when the environmental group came out and they dug out the ditch line on the east side of the road, on Mud Lake Road, but nobody replaced my driveway. I had to do that myself. So I'm just concerned going forward with the runoff that could come from that. How does that affect me and who's going to be responsible for it? Thank you.
You guys want to address these questions as they come up?
I'm assuming they have a stormwater plan, right?
Yes. Let me give you a little recoup. Back in, let me think, Robin, when did we get
End of
those?
last year.
Late fall, we got our annexation papers on that parcel. I was under the understanding that that was a 20-acre annexation. And when I went to see the city manager at the end of February, I was floored to see that the entire parcel will be developed with a through road from Mud Lake Road to 89. Of course, the changes involved with the sanitary sewer will be accommodated under Mud Lake Road. I think what's further confusing to me is that the subdivision is called Tyranina Point.
Right.
And that's confusing to me because when I think of Tyranina, I think of the north end of town. So that was a big surprise to me. Also, the pattern for construction, I guess, was a surprise to me. We have long had Mud Lake Road on our improvement list. It seems like things change on our road planning document monthly. And I was surprised to learn that they would do that work on Mud Lake Road this summer, along with the work that's scheduled for Highway 89 at the south end, along with the road work that's planned for County Highway A. There seemed to be no way to work with them. I was hoping that we could postpone the construction for another year so that we could be in a position where we could motivate and do some of the paving we'd like to do on Mud Lake Road too.
Sure.
But that did not seem to be within the city manager's purview. And so I guess we are kind of in a holding pattern,
Sure.
just as you are.
I was just kind of concerned that nothing, it seems to, years ago, there would be letters that would go out to inform people that stuff was going on, and I know that we've got into the world of cell phones and data on internet and everything, and it seems to, the personable aspect of everything has gone out the window. And not to get off on a tangent, but I can see why people don't care about helping their neighbors anymore, because we just don't interact with them anymore. And that's an unfortunate thing. I just wish there would have been a little bit of a heads up on it, and I get it, I totally understand, it's just frustrating.
Frustrating for me at the same time. I was floored to see that 42 or 43 houses. And we did change the minutes of our planning commission to reflect that, because that was the first they had heard of it too. You know, the annexation process is kind of a clunky one. We get paperwork, we can object, but we are in a boundary agreement with them. And if you look on the wall, there's a picture of that southern growth area. And I have in my heart the belief that this has been in the works for many years. You guys have anything you want to say?
I would add that I know the city did publish the necessary notices for the
Yes.
annexation of the paper as required.
It just was confusing when it was called Tyranina Point.
You
So-
live right up here at the
I
corner.
live on the very first house down Mud Lake Road. So it used to be the old Schrader homestead.
So there's actually two houses there still in the town of Lake Mills, correct? Yours?
Yes,
Yes.
I am the line fence for the township.
I was surprised they didn't talk to you people because you're an island now.
There's
Town,
more than two.
city
yeah.
all around.
They're all in the township. There's more than two.
I meant right on the corner up here.
Oh, no, I'm not on the very corner. I'm down, if you go down Mud Lake
Oh,
Road.
Sure.
Okay.
He's on the west side
I'm
of the
talking
road.
about these
Yeah,
two
no,
houses.
you're, that is Mrs.
Yeah, that would be an island.
Tree
Yes,
Love,
Mrs.
yeah.
Treeloff.
And Gay, I think is the last name of it. Gay is the last name of the
Yes,
others?
yes.
Yeah.
If you take a few minutes and go to the website that the county has and look at the GIS mapping, you can tell pretty quickly where you're at there. As far as your driveway goes, you know, gonna have to work these things through just like we are here at the town hall with the construction people that are coming on, and they'll be ripping and tearing here. We've had some real reservations about what's gonna happen with our elections and the accessibility of our town hall. And so we're making some plans to, number one, not have mail delivery here, so that we will be able to access all of the absentee ballots. These guys are gonna have to make our town hall accessible during these election periods. And you know that many people are going to need to be accessed on this road. You know, they're gonna have to have access for emergency equipment and for all those things. But I think we're gonna have to work together through this tough few months. It is supposed to be done mid-July. The quicker the better.
We have an August election, so I
Yeah,
hope
who
so.
knows how that
What
is.
is supposed to be done by mid-July, I hope I don't.
The Mud Lake project and 89.
So when you say Mud Lake project, how far on Mud Lake? The entire Mud Lake
No,
Road?
no, no,
Or
no.
just up to the corner
Only,
where the city has annexed?
only where he is talking about where the fence line used to be there
Okay.
on Mud Lake Road. That's the section that the city, we share that section with the city now, and they will be taking it over and improving it and putting the utilities in for the subdivision.
So then what about the rest of Mud Lake Road that is in, I mean, so that's still part of township?
That is still the town of Lake
Because
Mills.
when I looked at the map on the city website, it looked to me like there was an annexation line that went at the first sharp curve. You know, as you go down Mud Lake Road, there's a very sharp curve that goes to the left. The dot goes right there across that says that is the annexation line on the city map. So that's quite a bit. That is down farther, most of these people I see sitting here, they live before that curve. So are you saying then the township is still gonna maintain that part of the road?
Yes, yes, until it's annexed.
Until it's
And
annexed?
who knows how that will be.
Even though the city has it on there already that it's annexed. I mean, the line is on that plan that I saw on the city
I
website.
guess I'd have to look at the
Yeah,
paperwork to
I
make
guess
sure.
that's what's got me confused.
But I'm sure that is the intention of the property owner.
You mean us, okay.
You know, it's private property.
Right, I understand that.
Town doesn't have much say about the
But
annexation.
The annexation line on the map went behind, on the west side of Mud Lake, across the field, which would be between Cars and,
Yes.
I can't think of the other family name.
Topol. They're not topos.
No.
South growth area?
Puzzles,
Well, Hazel's.
the ones I have,
No, the one that bought the old Gutchalk farm.
yeah, I'm trying to think of the name.
I don't know if they're here, I have their name.
Oh, Arkin?
Arkin.
Arkin, yep.
Arkin, mm-hmm.
So I guess all I'm aware of right now, Jill, is the 20 acres that I heard about last fall. I'm not sure that the other portion has been annexed, the portion that borders Highway 89. And what happens in the future, you know, is up to that property owner.
So that property owner has no, I want to say, has no responsibility to advise or like, I guess like, he was saying that nobody gets a letter any longer that we are not gonna be impacting your home, your way of life, your property values. So nobody is allowed that information until it's a done deal, basically.
We get annexation papers and we can, those come from the Department of Administration and we can fill those out and object to the annexation. But because we're involved in that boundary agreement and that is in the southern growth area, that's how that plays out. And there is no zoning change. You would normally get a letter. There was a zoning change on any property within a few miles of your home, but not with annexation. Because there is no zoning change.
Right, if it's agricultural land.
It was zoned, the zoning was changed on that land, that particular
That's-
parcel. It was RD, RD1, and now it's residential
They can't annex.
4 and
annex your
6.
property
dash 4 and
Your
dash 6.
approval.
Right.
So, they can't annex any property without the property owner's approval, okay? I mean, they just can't come and
Do it.
annex your property.
Okay.
You have to approve that, or request to be annexed, if that's your concern.
Well, I think that's everybody's concern that's sitting here.
They can't just arbitrarily annex property without you approving it, the landowner. And this property was approved, requested by Hunts's to be annexed, so.
So all the homeowners that live across the street are still in the township and they're not annexed.
Correct.
Correct.
Great.
Just goes out to the first speed limit sign, right? Which is
Yeah, I think
half a
so.
mile out or
Well, there's an old fence line there.
the total.
It's
That's
shortly
as far as
before his
that road
driveway.
You're saying they're gonna be working on to essentially where that speed limit sign is? Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be a difficult summer to enjoy this end of Lake Mills.
Well, I guess what some of our concern was is why would they have 2 entrances into this huge subdivision off of tiny Mud Lake Road versus having it come off of Highway 89 from the other side over the Un's property on the east side versus coming through this tiny little road, which is, you've all been down there, you know how small it is.
I'm sure they're going to bring it right up to their standards of a city street.
Yeah.
So they're gonna widen it? I
Yeah,
would assume?
sure,
I mean,
sure.
if they widen it, which direction do they widen it? Does it go into?
Well, there's a right of way on each side of the road, 33 feet from the center line. So,
That would be in your front yard.
well, that's how it works,
Well, let's just say we made a 2-year plan for the property we just bought. So it's too bad. It's too bad. That was a nice, my name's Bobby Ream. We just bought that property because of the nice land around us. And I'm not against progress, it's gonna up our property value. We got a nice piece of land. They're gonna have all that houses over there. We're gonna have one of the nicest chunks in that area. It's gonna definitely help us, but it's too bad. This is a very nice environment over there.
Well, I think you live in a rural area because you want to live in a rural area.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I was told by somebody at the city, you shouldn't have bought a house so close to town because you don't like to move. I mean, some of these people have lived here 40 years. I've lived here, I'm not on Mud Lake Road, I'm on Conservation Road, but these are my neighbors. This is our community and our neighborhood that is gonna be so drastically affected.
I guess the biggest question I think all of us should have is, we need some proper information of what's going to happen,
Timeframes.
what time things are gonna, we're not gonna stop it, we're not billionaires, we don't have power to do that, we just need to, know what's going on, I think, for our own well-being. You guys agree with that?
I guess you're going to have to ask those questions downtown Lake Mills.
Would you recommend that these homeowners ask for a meeting with, say, the city manager? Would that be the first step? Okay.
I just wanna know, like, what the heck's going on, what should I expect, I don't wanna be,
City manager.
Kind of a surprise to me when I walked in that office on the 24th of February, too. We
It
knew...
seemed to happen very
We knew
quickly.
22 lots were coming. Well, it's been in that southern growth area for many years. That plan was formed in 2002, it expires in 2022, which is ticking away, so.
Well, this is a great, this town's definitely growing fast, that's for sure. It's understandable.
When I mentioned this morning to our building inspector, he said, oh, good, there'll be more lots available to build on. I said, not in the town of Lake Mills though, sir. So,
I guess the other thing that I heard was that there's gonna be a real problem with water pressure, because the water tower is lower than the land. This hill right here that they're building, and every home is going to have some type of an additional water pressure system to up their water pressure. They'll just have a trickle because the water, this is like 12 to 15 feet higher than the water tower.
I suppose.
I mean, what about the sewer runoff from all these houses and all this concrete? Isn't it gonna go to Mud Lake Road? Has the DNR been involved in
I'm
this
sure there's a
decision?
stormwater. I think you should call the city manager and ask for a meeting if you would like to use the town hall. If you need my help for that, I would certainly advocate for
Got
that.
construction going on though. Keep that.
Well, like I said, even if there's construction here, we're still gonna have to be accessible. That's just the way it is. And they won't be working evenings or weekends. So that's just how it's gonna be this summer. It's disappointing to me too, because is our tax base, and we really have no control over what that private property owner decides to do with his farmland.
I would have done the same thing. It's probably get a nice paycheck.
Well, and you know, there's another thing that troubles me. This is in a pretty tight range of a certain chicken plant that is in our township, and now we're gonna put 44 more homes there. We have a problem.
Yeah, I think they just added a few million more chickens too, right?
They did. There's like 3 million, I believe now, something of that nature.
2.5.
2.5, sorry, I'm off by half a million, but I'll tell you, I smell them on a regular basis.
That's our one chicken in there, yeah.
Sorry about that. And your 3 ducks, okay, gotcha.
All right, anybody else have a comment they want to make? Hi, Dave, how are you?
Okay, so,
Great.
Dave Larsoul, Lake Mills EMS Service Director. Just here to talk real quickly, unless you've been on Pluto, everybody has heard that we have a virus that's going around, and there are steps that we are gonna be taking. So if 911 is called to your service area, there may be just a slight delay. We're gonna have to gown up depending on what the nature of that call is. When dispatch calls from now on, if you have any kind of respiratory distress issue, they will be asking you and going into more of a questionnaire as to whether you've been in town or not. If you have a fever, those are gonna be some of the key things that are gonna come up. They will then forward that on to us as we're responding, and we'll be making a decision at that point, whether we should be in a gown set up or not. I did provide some protective gear for your police department. I would say if you do have any DPWs, they also need to get access to that for cleaning anything that you guys have in your area. I don't know if you do, but just in case, I just wanted to let you know. If there are any questions, they can call us back, and if the PD needs any more, we'll probably be going for emergency funding. They can call me back at area code 920-648-5888. Any questions?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being proactive, appreciate it. Move on now to item 8, review of applications filed.
One more thing. that's
Sure, Joe, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Our signs are totally faded. I don't know, I think I heard you say.
Made that
you're
list.
looking at
Fire
them.
signs?
On our
No, the conservation road
and
sign
signs,
is
especially
totally
the ones that
faded.
face the south, you can't read them. Conservation and Mud Lake on the south side, you can't read that one either, so.
Thank you.
Just a note.
We have replaced about 50% of the signs. I keep missing them though, so
Yeah, I keep-
I saw that the other day when I was
Yeah,
there.
okay.
All right, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome.
Appreciate it. Item A, discussion and/or decision on a request for a variance made by Lakeside Construction Representative Tony Stencil for an addition to an existing non-conforming accessory structure in an R1 zone at at less than the required 75-foot setback from the ordinary high water mark at W 8129 Elm Point Road. Property owned by Tim Esser. Is Tim here?
Tim nor Tony.
Huh. Did they file the conditional use
I
paperwork?
have not seen that yet, so perhaps he's waiting till they do that at the plan commission level to bring both to the town board, but I haven't heard
Well,
anything
that wasn't
from
the
them.
understanding we had.
Okay.
No,
Was
he
it?
said he wrote it down, 7 o'clock
Okay.
tonight.
Said he'd be here.
Well,
If he shows up at 8, we'll come back to it, but that's the way it's gonna be.
So no action, but, you know.
No action at this point in time.
Okay.
Item 9, old business. A, open sealed bids received and have a discussion or decision on the sealed bids received for requests for proposals for the placement of town buoys and swim ropes.
Okay, so we received one via email, which came late and not in the right format. There was one that was sealed, didn't know what it was, so I opened it, but it was a sealed bid. So I'll let you look at that one. Who's that one from?
So we got 2 bids. What I was trying to get at here is we have had placement of the buoys and the swim rafts, but we've never had any hourly maintenance, and that's what I was trying to get, is a fee for maintenance when we have buoys get knocked off of course, or however it happens.
Yeah.
So we have 2 bids. One has come from Schweigert Industries, the other one has come from
Joe Cooper.
Joe Cooper, but, you know, he's not a corp.
Who is it? Jim Cooper.
Joe Cooper,
Or Joe Cooper.
Joe Cooper is,
Joe Cooper.
Jerry's son-in-law.
he's a Elm Point
Oh.
resident.
Okay.
He's been putting helping Jerry Kuzinski for the last 4 or 5 years, putting in the buoys, locating them.
Have you had him bill hourly for special work and repairs in the past? Oh,
He has never been available to do any hourly work or repairs, and that was a difficulty that we had last summer. He said he was never allowed any money for that. I mean, we never have denied him anything for maintenance, but none of that maintenance got done last year. Makes it pretty ineffective for us.
but it seems like he's willing to do it now. I mean, he's got an hourly rate.
But he does not have an insurance certificate or a corporation. Now, I don't know if he would run that through Pyramid again, or, I just don't feel good about that.
Sorry.
Put these back in your envelope. You wanna, make a decision tonight, or do you wanna postpone this? Do you wanna continue to advertise? What do you wanna do? We do have some pretty extensive maintenance that needs to be done on that buoy system this year. I have asked Matt to have his officers inventory the buoys and make a list of the repairs that they need. They also agreed to make a run to Cedarburg to pick up whatever we need, because they have the pickup truck now with which they can do that, so.
So there's quite a bit of work. What do you say? At rough estimate, how many hours do you think to get them ready to put them back in the water?
Well, I guess that depends on if we,
You have no guess?
well, if we pay our officers to do it. They did say they would inventory and seek the supplies. They did not say they would do the maintenance. I would say we would have at least a day's worth of work and an 8-hour work week.
Okay, so that's 10, $750.
Yeah, it's $750.
So you're still lower than 4,400. I understand. Did you ask for insurance, or can we?
Yes,
see it?
yes, that was,
Because he's not incorporated and he's gonna be like a contracted, we do have to have insurance for our audit for the insurance company.
I don't know how we'd handle that. That was part of our bidding requirement, was to have
Yeah, I think
an
that's part of
insurance.
the Notice.
Reinhardt gave you a insurance
I
certificate
believe we may already have one on file.
Yes.
with us.
I noticed last year that quite a few of the buoys are missing the top or they're cracked because they've been hit by skiers and boats and so on. What kind of a program or plan does the township have to replace all those?
Well, normally what we do is we inventory them on a yearly basis, and then we buy, between five and seven every year. I think there are 28 buoys altogether. I might be wrong. But we inventory them. There is a kit that you can buy that you can add parts, you can add the reflector tapes to them. You basically have to buy a new one if you have an exposed foam in the top, so. And the only place to buy those is in Cedarburg at Royland Buoys, and it's a trip over there, so. It was no problem before when I had a big white van, but I don't have that big white van anymore, so the police department said they would do it.
I do want to point out that Mr. Cooper's bid did not meet the criteria of when it was supposed to be submitted and how.
Yep, that was my thought.
Because it was due at 5 o'clock on Monday, March 9th, and it was emailed to us. It's supposed to be in a sealed bid, and he emailed it to us, and it was like 9 o'clock last night. I mean, if we're gonna do bids according to what our notice says, we need to keep that in mind.
What's your pleasure?
It sounds to me, if we don't have two qualified bids, that we should put it up for another bid.
Okay. How do you guys feel?
You got time. Okay.
I wanted to start ahead of time. All right, so the decision is going to be that we will rebid it, ask for bids again next month, and if I need to, I'll make sure that that's cleared up.
Okay. I know we did get the bill for posting it in the legal section of the newspaper. It was $34.09. Do we want to post it again that way?
Yes, yes. All right, item B, discussion and decision on an ATV signage. Again, gentlemen, glad you're here. Visited with the city manager, as you heard, who I said, what are we going to do about ATVs on County Highway V? And he said they are absolutely not going to be allowed on County Highway V. And I said, well, how are you going to get around the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit? And he said, we are going to annex all of those properties along there so that we have control of that road. Now, I don't quite understand that because looking at the map, it's the same kind of squiggly line that we have over here. But what I understand from talking with the County Highway Department, the city of Lake Mills has properties along County Highway V that are drawn in the right-of-way so that is what they would like to annex. What I'm saying is, I think that there is not a firm 66-foot right-of-way there. I think some of those properties spill over into the right-of-way, the way they're drawn. That's what I think, I assume.
So like the property line's going to the center of the road or
Yeah,
somewhere?
something like that. And so they're going to want to annex those properties. And I said, I don't know how you can annex those properties and create an island, but they are insistent that they can do that.
Well, in that case,
You want to go to the center of the road?
I tried to Google it and look at it today in the Jefferson County map. But what I'm saying is, I think that like the gun block property that is the market, I think that their right-of-way is in part of the roadway.
Yeah, the way it looks is both the township and the city are doing that the right of way is down the center of Highway V. And according to the state statute, that if it's a shared road, the township would have jurisdiction to say, yes, it's okay because it's under the
So
35.
what he is saying is, he will annex those right-of-way properties, and then it will no longer be a shared road.
I don't understand why the city or the county or anybody is against trying to help our businesses in the town of Lake Mills and the city of Lake Mills for, I mean, we got gas stations, restaurants.
Yep, and that's exactly what they're concerned about, is the congestion there and the addition of the ATVs. I'm just the messenger.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be a traffic jam of ATVs.
And one of the second proposal,
The
that's
town,
gonna
on Highway V, from B, you're going east. You got to the grocery store. Everything else from there to the west is town of Lake Mills.
Mm-hmm.
So you could put ATVs up to the grocery store.
Except he's saying that if he does this annexation, then it will not be a shared roadway. And so that disses the decision on the 35-mile-an-hour roadway.
So for right now, last time we had our meeting, Matt said that once the township was posted, ATVs could go on County B and V without the signs up. So I guess that's what we post on Facebook, is that the road is open down until the township city line.
I think there'll be enforcement troubles.
I don't know how they could enforce that we're on it illegally when the state statute says a county road under 35 is open.
So I sat there in the meeting and I listened to what he was saying, and I was trying to grasp what he was saying, because I know a little bit about annexation, but not a complete encyclopedia of annexation. And I said to him at that time, when do you think this is going to happen, and what information can you share with me? And then I emailed him, and what I received back was the agenda from a executive session that the city council had had where this was discussed. So perhaps it would be a good idea for you and I to visit with Mr. Drescher or Mr. Wilkie upon this subject and see where they're going. There were no minutes from that executive session of the city council, but I know this idea was put forward at that time.
The thing of it is, Kurt, is you can't treat it for what it could be someday. You have to treat it as it is. And as it is, it's a shared jurisdiction. Once that it's annexed and changed, then that's a whole different ballgame. But until then, it's treated as it is, not what it could be, or is gonna.
I think that if you were going to run on that road, you're going to run into enforcement problems.
Because you talked to Matt, did you talk to the city?
When I originally had talked to Steve down at the city, I walked in and I talked to Mick on the chief of police downtown, and he's like, hey, as long as you guys tell us we're gonna start enforcing, we'll be good. And so I went down to Steve's office, or up to Steve's office, and I talked to him, and he got out the map and he goes, we're all shared right-of-ways until the property line between BP and Pizza Pit. That is where the city takes over 100% of the roadway. And he goes, you guys can put your signs up there. Well, from the time that I left from the city building to get home, all of a sudden the county is talking to me and the DPW guys talking to me saying you guys can't put signs up down on our roads, and it just went out of control quick, and I'm like, you guys will be lucky if you see 6, 7 ATVs down in that intersection at a time. And the whole idea was just to help the people in town to get more business. I mean, the business that is brought in from ATVs, Jim, you know, when you go up north and you see people on ATVs, they stop at a grocery store, they come out with a whole bunch of groceries to go to a county park and just have meals, you know, or they stop at a gas station and fill their machines up, not so that they can get into Lake Mills, but so that they can get back out of Lake Mills. I mean, we're not trying to get the traffic to be in the town. We're trying to get them to be able to get gas, get back out.
You'll make more money off those 6 ATVs than you do off all these bike rides we have through the town. I guarantee you that. They don't spend a dime.
I would agree, and the ATV clubs that are out there, everybody knows it's single file. You're in the line of traffic, you're not on the shoulder, these bikes take up just as much as 3 4-wheelers going across the road, and we don't ride that way.
The thing that what about Highway B? We're gonna go all the way to Pine Street? Or is the city gonna try to annex all the town land on B?
Well, you have to have willing property owners,
That's
that's.
that's all town.
Well, down the Highland Road, right?
Yep.
And I've had people from Highland Road say, can I be riding on the road? And I said, everything's posted the way they told us to. I'm working on the inventory of where the signs were put. If they were put on stop ahead signs, curve signs, telephone poles, I'll get that list to you as you requested. But when we were here last, Matt said, we're not gonna enforce it on there. It's a county road within the jurisdiction that approved it. You're good to go.
I have a quick question on that. Is there any maps that have been produced yet for,
Just this one that we have here.
that's like where you can take your ATV?
Once everything is figured out,
The signage,
Polaris
yeah.
Flag Command takes about 2 days, and they will have it on their
Okay,
app.
I have that. My parents live on Short Hills, so I'm trying to figure out how I can get over there.
There's really no way you're gonna.
So that's what doesn't make sense.
My parents live in Sherwood Hills, and they can ride from one end to the other.
Yeah, I know. What's the point? What's the point of that? Don't tell anyone, but I sneak on this trail over here when it snows.
No, so once we can get, from Waterloo, you can ride all the way to Little Myra.
Okay.
Up towards Fond du Lac on roads.
Yeah.
Once we get all that done, like Dodge County okayed all of their county roads now. Anything under 35 is.
Yeah, we used to live in Dodge County.
And
So.
they put extra roads that were 55 miles an hour in as connector routes. So
That's nice, that Dodge County, they have connector roads, so you're not just stuck somewhere.
So that's what we want to do next, but we got to get through all the townships
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
And the city.
We don't want to be in the city. We want.
You're gonna have enforcement problems if you're running on County Highway B. I'm telling you. You're gonna have county enforcement problems and city enforcement problems.
I'm afraid the cops won't go over.
So if you want to get together with Wilkie and work this through,
Yeah,
make it happen.
might have one of the sponsors come in.
Swell. All right.
You have no sign on Fable Road.
What was that?
Fable Road?
No, we don't.
Okay.
No,
No.
because we had taken those off because you had said that was part of,
Waterloo.
or Waterloo and
Yeah,
Milford.
Milford, yeah, okay.
So you said the only place that it would really be was at the very end by, what is it, Stark Road? Or what's the one that comes across from A?
Weber?
Weber, that real short little one? You said there was something down in there that we could sign, but we didn't sign it because we figured there was only a couple houses there.
So when you sign, okay. Alright.
So I got a new map that we made, and we crossed off the ones that we didn't put signs on. We did put up a couple of the old ATV, no ATV signs yet. New ones are in order, there's 10 on order, so when those come in, we'll finish. We'll swap them out down on the south side here. They were just on all the little island roads like,
Yeah, I see what I'm.
I think
yeah,
Haley
Just the
Road,
dead ends, yeah.
London Road, Crossman Road, all of those have old signs yet, but they'll get switched.
Yeah.
So once you have a finalized map, can you email it to us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. devil's in the detail.
Okay, so I am going to post on Facebook that township roads are okay to be on because they're all signed. Correct? That was our
That's what the ordinance says.
understanding, that once signage was up,
Correct.
we're okay. Okay.
Right.
Good.
Okay, item C, discussion and decision on adoption of Town Ordinance 5-14 Plan Commission Amendment to change the monthly Plan Commission meeting time from 8 PM to a time to be determined by the Planning Commission each month. Hope this doesn't cause confusion in the future.
Well, it does what we do.
Yeah.
But I think the meeting's probably gonna stay till 8 till, oh, there he is. Petitioner.
Yeah, he's for Lakeside.
Okay, let's finish discussion on this town ordinance on the Plan Commission. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the change to time for ordinance 5-14.
I'll second it.
All right, is there any discussion? We'll deal with it if we have any problems, all right? Thank you very much. All in favor of approving that, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign.
Tony.
Yes, let's go back. We are going to go back to old business, no, review of applications filed. Discussion and decision on a request for a variance from Lakeside Construction, Representative Tony Stencil, for an addition to an existing non-conforming accessory structure in an R1 zone at less than the required 75-foot setback from the ordinary high water mark at W8129 Elm Point Road, property owned by Tim Esser. And we skipped over this because you weren't here.
My apologies, I thought it started at 8, but
We're confusing everyone. This is the first month.
that's the first one that starts at 7?
First month that started 7, so.
Well, okay.
So you're okay.
I missed it, I'm sorry. But,
We said we'd come back for you.
Thank you.
So we are all of the understanding that you will now apply for conditioned use.
Yes, there will be a second application for conditional use to increase the overall height of the building as well. That I understand needs to be at a separate meeting as well.
All
I
right.
missed that.
So the forms are on the website again,
Yep.
town forms, county forms.
I will make a motion to approve the variance request made by Lakeside Construction, Tony Stencil, for the property at W8129 Elm Point Road, representing Tim Esser.
Second motion.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the variance, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. So as long as you're understanding that before you can go to the county, you have to come back and get the conditional use next month,
Correct.
and that date is April 8th
8th, which is a Wednesday, because of
at
election.
8 PM,
8.
and then you will need to come back before the town board.
Which were determined.
Which-
Following Tuesday?
No, the 21st.
21st,
The 21st,
which is different than normal.
Because it's our annual meeting.
Right.
Okay.
and it's the third Tuesday of the month.
And what time is that meeting?
Well, we haven't determined that yet, so you have to stick with us, all right?
Okay, that's
The
fine.
Moving on.
annual meeting's at 7, so
Yeah,
it'll be after that,
normally,
normally.
all right. So you understand where we're at, we're going forward. All right. Item D, is that where we are? Yes, item D. Discussion and decision on the 2019 budget amendments which have been provided to us. Jim, thank you for working on these. Seems like a long time ago. We're gonna change these dates on these documents.
We will manually do so, yes, so that we can move this forward. Unless you want to come back and sign them with me another time.
No.
Okay.
So I guess I have to read this, huh?
Yep.
All right, the Town of Lake Mills 2019 budget amendments. 2019 actual revenue. $1,147,849.72. Actual expenditures, $1,157,590, $594.86, with a deficit showing of $9,745.14. Additional cash needed to be added to the 2019 budget in the form of Resolution 1, be it resolved by the Town of Lake Mills Town Board as follows, that the sum of $9,745.14 be transferred from the reserve capital to the cash balance applied to the 2019 revenue budget to make the cash total applied to the budget in 2019 $110,078.19. Adopted. I would move to approve Resolution 1.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving Resolution 1 in the budget amendments, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, the same sign. Resolution 2, be it resolved by the Town of Lake Mills Town Board as follows, that the sum of $19,392.77 is hereby transferred from the General Governance Fund to the Public Safety account. I will motion to approve Resolution 2.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving Resolution 2, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all those opposed, the same sign. Resolution 2 is approved. Resolution 3, be it resolved by the Town of Lake Mills Town Board as follows, that the sum of $11,943.20 is hereby transferred from Public Works to Public Safety. I will motion to approve Resolution 3. Is there a second?
Second.
Hate to lose you guys here. All in favor of approving Resolution 3, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Resolution 4, be it resolved by the Town of Lake Mills Town Board as follows, that the sum of $57.76 is hereby transferred from the Health and Human Services account to the Public Safety account. I would motion to approve that.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving Resolution 4, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Resolution 4 is carried. Resolution 5, be it resolved by the Town of Lake Mills Town Board as follows, that the sum of $694.17 is hereby transferred from the capital outlay account to the public safety account. I will motion to approve that transfer.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of approving Resolution 5, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Resolution 5 is carried. Resolution 6, be it resolved by the Town of Lake Mills Town Board as follows, that the sum of $1,848.48 is hereby transferred from the miscellaneous expenditures account to the public safety account. A motion to approve that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion or changes? Hearing none. All in favor of approving Resolution 6, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Resolution 7, be it resolved by the Town of Lake Mills Town Board that the sum of $18,804.17 is hereby applied to the public safety account from the revenue cash balance applied in 2019. I will motion to approve Resolution 7.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving Resolution 7, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Resolution 8, be it resolved by the Town of Lake Mills Town Board as follows, that the sum of $15,706.57 is hereby applied to Culture, Recreation, and Education account from the revenue cash balance applied in 2019. I'll motion to approve Resolution 8.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving Resolution 8, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, the same sign. Resolution 8 is carried. Resolution 9, be it resolved by the Town of Lake Mills Town Board as follows, that the sum of $67,667.20 is hereby applied to the debt payment account from the cash revenue balance applied in 2019. I will motion to approve
Second.
Resolution 9.
Second.
Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none. Resolution 9 is approved. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Robin. Item 10, new business. A, discussion only of access maintenance complaint by Alexandra Lovejoy for her property off of Rather Lane.
Okay, and I did provide you guys with an email that came from her neighbor as well as part of that discussion.
We decided not to show up, huh?
Yeah.
I did inform her and I sent her an agenda via mail. She did email me today saying that she does not intend on attending tonight and wants something in writing from us.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I have applied myself to this too many times. And I appreciate the work that you did, Jim, getting a hold of the Towns Association. I don't believe that we really need to go into this any further, do we?
Well, Robin, you were searching minutes, did you?
We never dedicated
We
it
never
as a
did.
I was
town.
chairman at that time,
Yep.
and I know Dave was on the board. And I don't recall ever having that road dedicated or accepting it,
Right.
Town of Lake Mills. Turns out, I went down Jefferson County because in this, I don't have a copy of that, but I think you guys have a copy of that survey.
Yeah.
But I went down to the county and got that, and that's all the county had was that, 11163875 document. That's all she had on the registered deeds. And that only shows that the 16 and a half feet of that right of way was dedicated, was deeded to the
Deeded.
town of Lake Mills. Without our knowledge. And I said to her at the county, how can a person give another person a piece of land without them knowing it? And she said it happens a lot. You just deed it over to them. So that's what happened. They needed 66 feet of right of way. They only had 49 and a half in the town of Deerfield. So Charlie Yelk or whoever, Lovejoy, went and gave us the other 16 and a half, so they had a 66-foot right of way. That's the only thing that makes sense. And it was never dedicated to the town of Lake Mills. We never accepted it.
Yep.
Apparently, town of Deerfield did on this one survey. Says, and township approval, I hereby certified survey and map was approved by the town board of the town of Deerfield on October 11th, 2004, and that the public highway dedication as designated hereon is hereby acknowledged and accepted by the town of Deerfield. So it's their road.
So if they need a wider road, perhaps they should deed more to the town
We
of
should-
Deerfield.
We should give them that deed. We should give them that 16 and a half feet. Go to Dane County and give
Give
it
it
to
to
them.
him.
How do we
That's
do
my
that?
opinion.
How do we do that?
Just go up there and record the deed.
Yeah, quick claim deed done and
Would
give it
they-
to him.
Get our
Because it's-
attorney to do it.
Because it's right on the county line, would they be able to accept that into as a Dane County property? Or can we deed it back to the original property
Yeah.
owner and then force them to get more land from the other property owner on the other side?
It could be the town of Lake Mills. It still can be, we have property that's owned in 2 townships and 2 counties and, so yeah, I think it's possible.
But it actually is crossing over a county line though, or yours is
Yeah.
probably split by the line.
Yeah, because
Well,
they're separate parcels.
I did give that survey, that document that I got from Jefferson County to Leverton when he was here when we had our workshop or closed session. And he said he was gonna look into it, but I don't know if he did. if you could do that.
Okay.
And I did ask that question of the town association, but they did not answer that part of the question. So that is a big question mark, but anyway, we don't own that road.
Yeah.
It was never dedicated. But, you know, they still like to sue people, even though we're in the right and they're in the wrong, we end up defending ourselves. Been there. So I don't know how to, if she refuses to go to Deerfield, I don't know if we have to go to Deerfield. I know, Hope, you don't want to do that, but.
I've already been to
I
Deerfield
know.
and tried to get an agreement with them. Just a simple snow plowing agreement, you know? That didn't work.
Well, I went out there and I looked at this, and I didn't do any official measuring, but I stepped it off, and the only reference point that I had was that telephone post. And it's 10 feet from there to the gravel, and the gravel road is 15 feet wide. So that puts the eastern edge of that road 18 feet from the right of way. So 16 and a half feet, we're still 2 feet
Short of.
short of the gravel. So the gravel is definitely in the town of Deerfield, on their right of way. None of it's in it. But then the dumb road kind of veers off to the, it's not straight.
Yeah.
I know
But at the intersection, it's definitely in the town of Deerfield.
Dave Lovejoy contacted me as well, because he found out about the meeting and such, and he does have a buildable lot out there that he does intend at some point to probably sell and allow someone to build on. So then there'll be 2 residences out there that need access.
But that's in the town of Deerfield. He's
Yeah.
gonna have to improve that road in order for anyone to take that road on. Deerfield, I don't know how they feel about it,
Actually,
but
Dane County probably will not force them to make that a town road. They
Right.
allow 2 houses on a driveway,
They can make it a public road maybe.
so.
oh, what should we do?
What I think we should do is send her letter and her documents to the town of Deerfield and tell them to get it resolved. We don't own that right away, they do. They better start plowing the road.
And if they accepted a dedication, they accepted it the way it was. I mean, our town engineer didn't approve any engineering on that road.
No. We, in 2004, we would have never accepted, I shouldn't say never, but I'm pretty confident.
didn't accept
We did not accept an unapproved road, because we were giving roads back.
We were
Correct.
giving roads
Yes.
back at that point in time. All right, how are we gonna handle this? You're gonna draft her a letter? How are we gonna do this? We're gonna,
Does it come from the board or does it come from our attorney?
But we should copy town of Deerfield on everything we send them, because we send this to Deerfield, I think anyway.
why don't you do this for me, Jim? Why don't you sit down in front of the computer and write your thoughts down on how you think this should be resolved?
Okay.
And then send that to me, and I've been working with Leverton on those easements around the Price's Pond. Perhaps I can ask him to generate this letter if I pre-write it.
Okay.
That would be helpful. I'm a little frustrated with the town of Deerfield.
Yeah, I understand.
It isn't going to snow again, though, so I won't have a call from Alexa.
Don't be surprised.
Okay. Well, it was a mistake for her not to be here tonight. I'm sorry
Right.
she didn't choose that. Item B, discussion and decision on amendments to the Town Board Ordinance 1-12, alternates for the Board of Review. Is this something that we could be deciding upon in April when we fill our appointments?
We could, but we do probably, because it's an ordinance form, it's gonna need a public hearing, it's gonna need a little time.
Okay, and so
Process
the names of the, I didn't look it up, the names of the
The current ones.
alternates are,
Charles Unz.
they're in the ordinance,
They're
though.
in the ordinance, that's why you have to change the ordinance.
Okay.
And update it that way, where if I had suggested maybe putting it into like how we do our fee schedule, then it's just changed by resolution instead. But your name is on
Yeah,
there. You can't really act as an alternate if you're
No.
already on there. Steve Nass and then Eugene Hazel. And it's been since 2004 since we drafted this.
So we should be changing that ordinance and taking those appointments out of there,
Right,
don't you
and putting
think?
them in a resolution form
Yeah.
when we need to update.
And then we can work on the ordinance change and make those appointments in April.
Yep.
You guys have any suggestions on who you might want to ask to serve as alternates?
What about Sarah? Since she's well aware of the process.
Yeah, she would be.
All right. Anybody else?
I know Steve Nass, he's retired. He's on there, right?
He's on there. Eugene,
No.
Charlie.
What about maybe Lee Peterson, so he too is
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds
familiar
good.
with the,
Okay, we can be asking around for that. Will you,
I can redraft this and
Redraft
take the
that.
names out and then put the language in that it would be changed by resolution
Okay.
as far as the names.
all right, that's good. And then will you also update that list for us?
For appointments?
Yes, because we're gonna need to do some work
Yeah.
on that.
Okay. I wanted to
We,
get the ball rolling on
yeah,
this.
we still don't have anyone serving on the Public Works Commission, and there are a couple of other changes that will come up in April. Okay,
Did you talk about being in a public work? No. Oh, was it? It's at ATV.
item C, discussion and/or decision of the April Town Board monthly meeting date change. This is the way we did it last year. We had our annual meeting at 7:30, I think, and had our regular town board meeting at 8. Why don't we just say we're gonna have our annual meeting at 7?
That is what was set last year by the electors to have it on the 21st at 7, so that's what we have to follow.
All right, that's what we're doing. Now, looking at this April calendar, it's kind of scary. I'd like to do a road tour before our annual meeting.
Yes.
14, 15, 16, since we're not meeting that month, that week.
What did we decide on the town board time? 8?
Yeah,
Or, okay.
does that make sense to you guys?
We probably should have it as a motion just because this deviates from what our.
All right, I will make a
ordinance says.
motion to have our town annual meeting on April 21st at 7, to be followed at 8 o'clock with our regular April town board meeting.
Okay.
I will second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Please say aye. Aye, and all opposed? Same sign. All right.
Okay.
What's your availability? Can you spend a day starting around 8 in the morning and get done about noon? I've done a little early,
So what are you looking at? 15, 16, 17?
14, 15, 16? I don't care. You want to wait till Saturday, the 18th? That's your problem. I don't want to do that.
It doesn't matter to me, any date.
It doesn't to me either, as long as on the 16th we're done, because I have another meeting at 5 o'clock.
All right, we're going to meet on the 15th.
Okay?
And we're gonna meet at 8 AM, that's a Wednesday. And we're gonna have a short meeting here before we leave to talk about our road planning, and then we're gonna go from there.
8
Post
o'clock,
that for you guys.
April 15th at 8 a.m. Yeah.
Huh?
I put PM.
And if you, you wanna do that in the dark, it's okay with me.
It might be a good idea. We have no money anyway, so.
Okay, I'll get that posted.
All right, that's where we're at. Correspondence.
I have a letter from Lucas
Oh,
and Angela.
was there any town board expense? Sorry.
Oh, no, I didn't have any. Did you have it?
No.
Okay.
Okay. I got a letter from Lucas and Angela Dock in regards to a tree, that is dying, near Sunset Court. I think did I scan this and forward this to you guys?
I haven't seen it.
We
Okay,
did,
so
I
I'll
didn't see
pass
it.
it down.
Okay.
I'll let you look at that. And then I
Black
also,
Road? Yeah, I thought, yeah, I
yeah, this
thought,
is a different tree. Then I have a letter from the Senior Health Insurance Connection, Sharon Scheinberger. She's gonna be doing a presentation for Medicare 101 at the Cambridge Library on March 24th at 6:30 PM, and she just asked that we notify residents if they're interested about Medicare. That's all I have.
Where's my list? Oh, yeah, I'm pretty excited about this.
Glad you are.
What's to be afraid of?
MLS.
Oh, yeah, so with my crit, because they talked about the governor has released the road grants.
And
Are
so
we on it?
we received $435,400.79
Absolutely sweet.
from Fort Crossman Road.
Is that the money they're gonna put up?
That is 70% of what we
Okay,
asked for.
Okay, so we're paying 30%.
And so that's why I would like to talk with you guys about the road construction planning for the next year.
Yeah.
And how we're gonna approach that. I'd like to sit down and talk about that at 8, and then we'll go on our road tour.
So now I'm assuming that we have to follow their spec, correct? Right?
Well, you know, we've already got that that was all in the grant form. We will need to spend the money to do the design work.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we'll need to work again with Daybreak on what we're actually
Yeah.
planning to do.
But it's not gonna be one of those like the state with London Road.
No, I think we estimated it pretty logically at $650,000, and we have $250,000 to begin with, and we got 70% from the state.
That is awesome.
That is,
Is that 2 year? So
I believe we
It doesn't
have,
say on there, so.
I believe we will have up to 6 years to use this
Oh,
money.
okay.
You know, there are all kinds of little conditions there. But first step would be for us to begin the engineering and to work closely with the county on that.
Yeah, we don't wanna miss a beat on that.
We have 2 pending grants, you know, we have this grant for 435,400, and we have the grant hanging out there for Rock Lake Road, which we have 6 years to use too, so we need to do some planning. I don't know anything about this tree, so,
Yeah.
that's the good news.
Yep. I was wondering what was happening there.
Just found out, and I think, did you see the notice from the Towns Association? I will send it to you so you can send it out. There was a summation of the grant sent from the Towns Association, and I thought it was interesting to read what they had to say. So,
They should
send that
be
to
you.
receiving those
Yeah.
emails.
Oh,
Getting a little short email on the awards with a click to this, no. So,
You did, okay. I was gonna say, because you're all in the Towns Association's email group.
Yeah.
So,
okay, we'll get that out. All right, as far as meeting schedule, it's gonna be a topsy-turvy month in April. The Rock Lake Improvement, or the Joint Rock Lake Committee is meeting at, what is, what?
sorry, I was gonna say for under correspondence, I have put a notice out to electors to let them know about the construction. We are encouraging them to consider doing absentee voting, which they can apply for on the myvote.wi.gov website. I've already gotten just over 100 absentee vote, or requests already, because it's gonna be treacherous for some people to possibly navigate that construction, so we're gonna accommodate by encouraging the absentees. Just wanna get the word out there for that, so.
All right. Here again, we have had some questions about the coronavirus and the transmission of germs in the
Germs.
town hall at voting time,
Yes.
so we will be approaching this cautiously. All right, meeting schedule. Item A, April 7th is the Joint Rock Lake Committee at 6 PM at City Hall. Item B, the April Planning Commission meeting has been moved to April 8th at 8 PM. The road tour date is the 15th at 8 AM. The regular town board meeting will be at 8 PM on April 21st. And the annual meeting of the electors of the town of Lake Mills will be held at 7 PM on April 21st. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.